Hi, and welcome to this lesson on understanding overfitting and generalization. So, these are the two crucial topics in deep learning, and overfitting is a persistent challenge in deep learning, making it essential to grasp these concepts thoroughly. Okay, so how do we ensure our model performs well? What are the metrics should we look at? So we already covered several different metrics to assess model performance. And in reality, there isn't a single metric that determines whether a model is good or not. It all depends on the specific applications of the model. For example, in let's say in disease prediction, say in um disease prediction. So uh, f- false positives are or might be acceptable, as it's better to have extra screenings than to miss a diagnosis. However, in let's say in credit credit. Okay, let me erase this one. Okay, let's go back here. Um, in credit card fraud, fraud detection. So, false positives is could be obviously frustrating for customers who may experience unnecessary account blocks. So, false positive is um, not acceptable. Similarly with spam filters, let's say we have spam filters. So you don't have to um, misclassify important emails as spam. So these filters are typically designed to allow some spams through to avoid missing critical message. So obviously, false positives here is not acceptable. So as you can see, evaluating model performance is highly context dependent. So how do we achieve? So let me close this one. Okay. So how do we achieve good performance? Should we use more data? Should we create deeper or more complex models? Should we train for more epochs? All of these approaches can help, but they are not always the best solution. Um, Overfitting is a common challenge, and we need a specific techniques to address it. In the upcoming chapters, we'll, we will explore different methods to reduce overfitting and enhance generalization. For now, let's first define what overfitting and generalization mean. Okay? Overfitting is a common issue that plagues model development, especially in deep learning. It occurs when a model becomes too specialized in the trained data to the point where it performs poorly on unseen data, such as validation or the test datasets. This typically happens when we don't have enough data, we use too many features, and the model is overly complex for the given task. In essence, the model becomes exceptionally good at recognizing patterns in the training data, but fails to generalize to new data. So this means it may have learned irrelevant details rather than meaningful patterns for making accurate predictions. Fortunately, so there are many ways to address overfitting, which we which we will explore in the upcoming sections. So don't worry. Next, we have generalization. So it refers to how well our model performs on unseen data it wasn't trained on. So models that overfit to the training data perform poorly on new data or the unseen data, which means they have poor generalization. A model that stores a lot of information has the potential to be improved to improve accuracy by leveraging more features. But or however, this also increase the risk of capturing irrelevant features, which can negatively impact performance. So let me give you an example for that. Imagine you have given three images of cars and three images of fire trucks, and you need to train a classifier to distinguish between them. No? Now, consider the new input here, a red car. If your model learned to associate the color red with fire trucks, it might incorrectly classify this car as a fire truck. This is a classic case of overfitting, where the model has learned patterns that are too specific to the training data instead of generalizing properly. In this case, in this case, the model failed to recognize that color alone is not it's not a reliable distinguishing feature. Instead of focusing on structural differences between cars and fire trucks, it has latched onto the color red as a key indicator. Overfitting like this often happens when we have too little data or when our model is too complex, leading it to learn the wrong features instead of the true distinguishing factors. So, this highlights the importance of diverse training data and proper feature selection to ensure that the model generalizes well to new inputs. Okay, so let's look at this simple example. We have three models, each trained to distinguish between the green and the blue classes. So the goal of the model is to define a decision boundary that effectively separates these two classes. So let's have an observation here. So a model A has a highly complex wavy boundary that closely follows the training data while it while it correctly classifies most of the points. It It may be overfitting, picking up the noise here, no, rather than generalizing patterns. Model B is a smoother boundary. It captures the overall pattern but makes a few misclassifications. And Model C uses a straight line boundary while it is the simplest, so it underfits the data, failing to capture important distinctions and misclassifying a significant number of points. So, which model do you think it's best? Okay, so let's check. So, the middle model shown here is the best performing model. And firstly, let's look at the overfit model on the left. So you can see that the decision boundary is like very wiggly and complex, capturing even the smallest fluctuations in the data. So this means it has a high variance and is fitting the noise rather than actual underlying pattern. For example, if a green dot moves slightly closer to the boundary, so it might incorrectly be classified as blue, even though it should logically remain green. This indicates that the model is too sensitive to minor variations, and we want to avoid making predictions based on anomalies or noise, since it negatively impacts generalization. To improve this, we want the model to reduce the squiggliness or sensitivity of the decision boundary, making it making it smoother and more consistent. So this smoothness helps achieve better real world performance. Like this one, no? This is the more smoother. On the right, we have the underfit model. The decision boundary here is too simplistic, just a straight line. This usually happens when the model is too shallow or overly overly simplistic. So it has low variance but fails to capture the complexities of the data, leading to poor performance. So as you can see here, the middle model strikes a good balance between these two extremes. So it generalizes well, maintaining a smooth and consistent decision boundary that accurately captures the true pattern without overfitting and underfitting. So this balance approach makes it the most effective model in real world scenarios. Okay. So what is this chart telling us? So well, let's break it down. So first, let's look at the legend and the plot itself. So we have four main lines here, and we have, let's say, okay, the red one is the training loss, and this line goes down significantly and almost reach zero. And the training accuracy for using color purple or violet. So this line climbs up and nearly hits 100%. Okay, for the training accuracy. So for test loss, color sky blue. So unlike the training loss here, so this line actually goes up as the number of epochs, this is the epoch axis, increases. And the test accuracy uh, in this green color here. So this line hovers below 50% and doesn't improve over time. So what does this mean? Essentially, this chart shows a classic sample of overfitting. During training, our model performs exceptionally well on the training dataset, achieving almost perfect accuracy and a near zero loss. However, when we evaluate the same model on a test dataset, the performance significantly drops. So the test accuracy remains low, below 50%, and the test loss increases, which is problematic. This situation happens because the model has learned to memorize the training data rather than generalize well to new unseen data. In the real world, this level of perfect training or level of perfect training accuracy is quite rare. But this chart highlights the potential issue of overfitting. Ideally, we want our model to generalize well. That means the test loss should decrease alongside the training loss, and the test accuracy should increase similarly to the training accuracy as we train over more epochs. Instead, what we see here is a growing gap between training and testing performance, indicating that the model is overfit. To address this, we might consider techniques like regularization, dropout, or early stopping to reduce overfitting and improve generalization. So, how do we avoid overfitting? So, the best approach usually involves a combination of techniques. One common method is using large dataset or reducing model complexity. However, a more effective and targeted approach is regularization. So, regularization is a set of techniques that help control the model complexity and ensures that the model learns the right features for classification rather than overfitting the, overfitting to noise or irrelevant patterns. So let's look at this example. Imagine we build a dog or not dog classifier. We want our model to correctly identify dogs based on essential features like the overall shape, the tail, the nose, the mouth, and the body structure. In other words, the model should focus on features that indicates a dog. However, an overfit model might incorrectly learn the presence of grass or trees on this image. No? So this might incorrectly learn the presence of this whatever objects that's in the image. No, in this case. So as a result, it might classify an image of just grass as containing a dog. So this is a classic example of overfitting, where the model has learned the wrong associations. So regularization helps reduce this issue by guiding the model to focus on the most important features rather than irrelevant ones. Okay, so This way, the model generalizes better and makes more accurate predictions on new or unseen data. And well, this is a hilarious example of how machine learning can be confused. So the image you see here, and this is originally shared by um, a AI researcher on Twitter or X, highlights how a machine learning classifier struggled to distinguish between labradoodles and a fried chicken by adding this googly eyes to both the dogs and the chicken pieces. So the classifier got completely thrown off, mistaking one for the other. So this is a funny yet insightful example of how deep learning models, especially in computer vision, can sometimes be fooled by a simple tricks. So the key takeaway here is that the computer vision models are not um, infallible. So while they are generally quite good at most image recognition tasks, so they can still encounter issues, especially when presented with unexpected visual cues, like this one. We have this kind of googly eyes on a fried chicken. Okay, so despite their sophistication, these models are far from perfect and can sometimes make mistakes that seems obvious to us as human. Okay, so now let's take a look at regularization methods. And these are the techniques designed to help prevent or reduce overfitting in our models. So let's get started. Firstly, regularization is a technique used to reduce overfitting and improve the generalization of a model. It helps us to control the model complexity, ensuring that it focuses on the right features when classifying objects. So, as shown in this example, we want our model to learn what makes a dog, features like the tail, the nose, the ears, and mouth, rather than associating irrelevant elements like this green grass in the background with the presence of a dog. In other words, we aim to train the model to identify essential features while ignoring common but unrelated elements in the image. So there are several techniques we can use to achieve this, and we will explore those next. Okay, now let's take a closer look at some commonly used regularization methods in computer vision deep learning. So these techniques help reduce overfitting and improve model generalization. So the most common methods includes the L1 and L2 regularization. So these techniques add a penalty to the loss function to reduce model complexity. And data augmentation is this technique increases the diversity of a training data by applying transformations like rotation, flipping the image, or scaling it. So well, I often use this in my deep learning models to make them more robust. Drop out, a simple yet powerful method where a random neuron are dropped during training. It preventing the model from becoming too reliant on specific neuron. So I always use this technique because it's easy to implement and highly effective. And we have this early stopping. So while not strictly regular, and well, this not not strictly regularization method. It's useful for avoiding overfitting by stopping the training once the model's performance stop improving on validation data. And what we have here is the batch normalization. So this technique normalizes inputs to a layer, stabilizing learning and often improving both training speed and model accuracy. So these methods are essential for building effective and reliable deep learning models. Well, let's explore each of these techniques in more detail.